Alrighty, dudes and dudettes, welcome back to Custom Black Motorsports, and if you're new here, welcome. Alright, if you have a 5th gen Ram with the basic 6-speaker setup, okay, I'm going to show you how to upgrade that sound system with a 5-channel amp and subwoofers easy, like really easily. Alright, so the first thing that you're going to do, alright, is you're going to need to run a power wire. All right, what you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to see what your amp specifications are. What gauge wire do you need to run? Whatever gauge wire you need to run doesn't matter in this circumstance, okay? You're just gonna run it. All right, so what I got here is a 4-gauge wire because my amp requires a 4-gauge wire and an 80 to 100 amp, what do you call that? Fuse. Okay, pretty cheap setup here. It's pretty cheap. All right, so in your 5th gen Ram, in the firewall, there's plenty of places to pull your wire through. There's a lot of deals with rubber grommets that are going through the firewall. You can just pull that wire to basically any rubber grommet you desire without drilling. Okay, so this truck here is my daily driver. I got 3 dogs, like 4 birds, just laid eggs. So it's gonna be more birds. I've given away a lot of birds. All right, I got quite a bit of mess going on with this truck. You're gonna have to, I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I was gonna say, please forgive me, but dude, this isn't my show truck. All right, so what you're gonna do, you're gonna run that power wire through the firewall. You can see right here. All right, you're gonna pick a rubber grommet. All right, and whoops, and it's this easy. These panels just pull off. Okay, you're gonna pull the panels off like this. All right, come on. All right, you see that? How the panels are pulling off? You can see some of the red wire right there. Panels pull off just like that. And you're gonna run the wire, your power wire, underneath your carpet. I'm gonna leave that like this, put it back on later. All right, you're gonna run your power wire to your amp. I have the amp out right now. I usually have it tucked underneath, but for display purposes, all right, please understand, we have the amp out. So we have the power wire running to the amp, and it is completely tucked. All the other wires are not tucked right now because of display purposes. I can easily tuck them. All right, just need to pull all these panels up. Okay, these here, easy to pull up. They just pull up. Pull the panels up and tuck the rest of the wires. I haven't done that yet for display purposes. Okay, in the 6-speaker bass sound system, you have an ANC, active noise cancellation device. So I had to buy an active noise cancellation bypass harness. Bypass harness. Bypass harness. All right, display purposes, we got some wires here. All right, that bypass harness consists of this deal here. Okay, when you get the bypass harness, all right, and it consisted of this deal here, which I have cut into. Okay, if I went like this, this is the bypass harness. But I have these wires here that say 2 speakers. I wanted those speakers amplified, and I want a crossover going to those speakers. So I didn't upgrade any of the speakers in my cheap-ass 6-speaker sound system. What I did was I added a crossover and I amplified the sound. All right, you'll be surprised how loud those speakers can go, all right, without replacing them and having quality amplified sound. Okay, so what you're gonna do is you have an active noise cancellation device underneath your seat when you have that basic 6-speaker sound system. what I did is I disconnected that deal. All right, I'm adding my ANC right now. Somewhere here, it plugs in. You're embarrassing me in front of all of my friends. Oh, whoops. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. All right. Active noise cancellation device. Bro, you're making me look. You're supposed to be plugging right in. You're making me feel funny. Okay, dude. All right. Plug in. You're not wanting to plug in? And the reason being is... Dude, this is crazy. Okay, where am I at here? I'm not even where I'm supposed to be. So embarrassed right now. Dude, you were just plugged in. How are you not plugging in? Okay, so what I'm doing is right now is I'm tripping out my gourd. It's supposed to be pretty quick. What's wrong with my hands? Active noise cancellation device gets plugged in first. Where are you at? Why are you not plugging in? Am I upside down or right side up? Dude. Okay, so this side goes in first. How are you not doing it? Oh, I'm on the total wrong side. Jeez. Gosh. Okay, so we got it plugged in. Active noise cancellation wiring harness. I'm moving around there. Okay. Now, coming from the radio into the active noise cancellation wiring harness. It's on total wrong side. Okay, and then active noise cancellation wire harness. What are you doing here? Two speakers right here. Okay, so that is it right there. Okay, the active noise cancellation wire harness actually has two speakers. All right, and what I'm doing right now, I don't see a lot of people connecting it this way. All right, in videos, they're tearing apart their entire truck to try to connect amp to their speakers. All right, or amplified power and a crossover. All right, so I got the active noise cancellation wiring harness deal in. I believe it's all correct. Okay, nothing else to plug in here. Okay, now, the next thing that I did is I got a line out converter. All right, that has, let's see here, a remote turn on. Okay, so that's for the amp, to turn on the amp remotely. So I didn't have to try to fish for a wire to turn the amp on remotely. All right, I got one of these Kicker line out converters, and the only thing that I had to do was connect the ground, and I connected the ground inside here to the body. Okay, and then the line out converter has this remote amp turn on, goes to the amp here, which turns the amp on remotely, okay, without needing to tap into any other wires. Okay, and so what I did for my source to the amp, to the speakers, all right, my source is my front. If you look here, I have some wires loose. Okay, so my front speakers, all right, in the dash and in the doors are these wires here. Gray and black line, white and black line. That's my front, that's my source right now for all 4 speakers. Okay, so with this amp, I have my source here. Okay, a lot of bundle wiring, I get it. I'm not done. I'm gonna mount the amp behind the seats. This is just for display purposes. Okay, so my source is coming from here, and we got a splitter going to the sub, amp 1. As long as I have the fader turned off, amp 1 and amp 2 will work. Whoop, don't know what I'm doing here. Zoomed in, weird. All right, so amp 1 and amp 2 work off of the amp 1 source, but I don't get the front and back fade. I have left and right, but I don't have front and back. So what I need to do is to get the front and back fade is I'm going to add another one of these line out converters to here. This is the back speakers. All right, I add that line out converter, RCA cables to amp 2, and then I'll have front and back fade. Right now, I'm not really worried about front and back fade. I'm not going to fade the front and back at this moment. All right, but what this setup does, all right, so what I did here, you can see I cut, told you guys before, okay, I cut the line, the active noise cancellation device, I cut that. Okay, and all of these wires right here are coming from the amp output. Okay, output. Now the factory 6-speaker sound system has a crossover. Amplified with a crossover. Without that, okay, when I added these subwoofers, you're just gonna get a bunch of bass. And you can't hear any vocals or any high tones. All right, and then without this and the crossover, there's going to be too much bass going through your factory setup, your factory 6-speaker sound system, and it's going to sound really distorted. All right, doing it this way, you have really low distortion. All right, and you can adjust here. Oh, what's going on here? Come on. All right, so here, amp 1, amp 2. This is my front speakers. This is my back speakers. You can adjust them however you would like. All right, really easy. All right, everything is done off of the active noise cancellation setup. I didn't have to rip the whole truck apart. That's the point that I'm trying to get at here. All right, I'm doing this video all in one take, so it's kind of difficult. All right, so just remember when you add the active noise cancellation device, if you don't have a 4-way kickoff, you're gonna wanna get 2 of these. All right, add it to the source here. Add it to the amp here. And then you get front and back fade. Setting it up like this, you get left and right, but you don't get front and back. In the future, I'm gonna buy another one of these because I have a plan on buying another amp. I have two 12s in here right now. It'll make your skin vibrate. It doesn't make your eyeballs vibrate, but it makes your skin vibrate. All right, I'm gonna get another one of these. All right, so I can source off my rear speakers, and then it'll give me another remote turn on for another amp. I plan on putting a mono amp and adding some speakers that are a lot better for the volume of this box. All right, that's something you need to look at too. You're gonna get subwoofers. You gotta understand you need to get subwoofers that are good for a small box if you're gonna try to put them under the seat, like in this truck here. All right, so really easy. You're gonna run your power wire from the battery to the back. All this stuff rips off by hand, just like that. Boom, that's the hardest part. Okay, your remote turn on can come out from a line out converter with remote turn on. The worst thing you got to do with that is ground it. All right, take your remote turn on, put it to the amp. The line out converter that you're gonna buy to make all this work, active noise cancellation device, all your speakers. All right, all your speakers run off of that noise cancellation device. So you can amplify those speakers easily without ripping your doors apart, doing a bunch of crazy wiring. Okay, if you want left and right, and you're cool with that, then you hook it up this way. If you want front, back, left, and right, you're gonna need add another line out converter. All right, and you're gonna wanna put more RCA cables here to amp 2, so I can have front, back. Right now I have it on amp 1, runs all the speakers in the entire truck. Okay, if you see this fader switch here, all right, when I press this switch and turn it off, amp 1 activates amp 2, but you just get left and right, not front and back. Very easy, super easy installation. Not sure why not a lot of these videos people talk about how you can, oh, and by the way, talk about why you can, how you can add a 5-channel amp or amplify the speakers by just using your noise, cancellation device here. Also, by the way, you have a 6-speaker system. 2 speakers run off of the white and black. All right, your dash and your door, white with the black stripe, gray with the black stripe. Okay, those are your door speakers and your dash speakers. They all run off the same power there. All right, I'm not done with installing all this setup. It's just something to show you. Very easy. This amp here is a Kicker 660.5, which is really good for this setup. I got 2 Kicker Comp speakers. All right, so what happened was I had a friend. He gave me 2 speakers in this amp. I had another box. I just needed to buy a proper box for this truck and some wiring, and that's what I did. I started going at it and started doing my research, and I'm like, why aren't people just tapping into the ANC harness to do all their amplified speaker setups? You see them tearing their doors apart, and I don't know, I don't understand. This right here works for me. All right, if you want to upgrade your 6-speaker sound system in your 5th gen Ram truck, the basic sound system, this is the easiest and the cheapest way to go, under $1,000. All right, you can make your skin shake. You don't even got to buy brand new speakers for the doors or for the dash if they're not blowing out, because the amplifier most likely will have a crossover, which prevents so much bass from going through the speakers and distorting the hell out of them. All right, pretty good deal. All right, if anybody wants to check out this setup in person, be my guest. You know, I don't have a problem with shaking your skin. Like I said, it's not going to shake your eyeballs, but this will shake your skin. All right, I plan on upgrading a little bit more. I think I want to put a 1200 watt amp in here and some 12-inch subwoofers. There's two 12s in this setup. I'm going to put some 12s in here that are better for a smaller enclosure. Hot damn hell yeah, y'all the baddest. Get some. With everything installed correctly, it should kind of look like this. No wires. Nothing undesirable.